I was accidentally invited to a serial killer club. After I was done eating out my neighbor, I checked the mail and received an envelope. I thought it was a bit odd since I had just moved into my new home, but it was sent to current resident. Technically, that was me. I figured it was just one of the fake ads that gets sent through the mail, but I was incredibly wrong. When I opened up the envelope, all that was inside was a USB drive. I wasn't stupid enough to plug it into my own computer. Who knows what kind of virus could be lurking on this thing? I was a bit curious about it though, so I took it to one of the computers at my local library. I plugged it into the library computer. The USB opened up and there seemed to only be a single video file. I put in some headphones, took a quick look around to make sure no one else was watching, and then I played the video. The video began to play, but it was only a black screen. After a few seconds, a distorted voice began to play though. I'll do my best to recreate what it said here. Congratulations, you have been selected as one of the 64 contestants in the first ever serial killer showdown. We have been watching, and have carefully selected our contestants. You have been selected as a lower seed. This means you will be hunted in the first round. Your opponent has been given your name, face, and address. Your opponent will be given 1 week to eliminate you. Should he fail to do so within the time frame, or if he is killed, then you will advance to the next round. Any contestant that fails to compete shall be dealt with accordingly. Good luck. Before the video ended, the face of a man appeared on my screen with the text "Your Hunter." Then the video closed on its own and the entire computer began to show lines of code. After a few seconds, the computer returned to normal, but the USB drive was now empty. I tried removing it and plugging it back in, but this achieved nothing. I thought this had to be some kind of prank. Serial killer showdown. It sounded like a terrible indie movie. Still, the idea it could potentially be real freaked me out a bit. If it was real, it had obviously gone to the wrong person. I was not a serial killer. I had issues killing houseflies. It must have been meant for the person who lived in my home before me. I decided that it would be best to visit my local police. I took them the flash drive and tried explaining what I had seen, but of course it still contained nothing. They probably thought I was high or crazy, but in the end I got them to accept the flash drive, and they said they would send it off to text to get it examined. They couldn't do anything else though. I still wasn't sure that this was real, but I didn't like the idea of someone hunting me down. I packed my essentials from my home and found a cheap hotel. If what the video had said was true, then I would only have to hide out for a week. It shouldn't be my name or face that was shown to the other person, but rather the person who had lived at my home before me. So I had nothing to worry about, right? That was what I thought at least. On the third day of living away from my new home, I decided to drive by my house after work. I just wanted to take a peek, because I was certain I had just let paranoia get the best of me. This whole thing had probably just been a prank, and I had been the sucker who fell for it. When I drove by my house, however, there was a car parked nearby. I noticed the tags were from a couple states over. This seemed a bit odd to me, but not entirely out of the norm. It could just be guests visiting the neighbors. I decided not to stop though, and to go back to my hotel. Once I arrived back at the hotel, I began to prepare myself for bed. It had been a long day at work, and I had had to do overtime again. All this added stress wasn't helping either. Just as I was about to crawl into bed, I heard something. Knock knock. There was someone at the door. This was definitely strange. It was not the time of day that room service would be here, and I had not ordered anything. Hello, who's there? I yelled at the door. No response. I walked up to the door and looked through the peephole. There was no one on the other side. I opened the door and peeked out in the hallway. It was likewise empty. I shut and locked the door, making sure I placed the deadbolt on. Was this whole situation driving me crazy? I went back to my uncomfortable hotel bed. Despite how anxious I was, I still managed to fall asleep quite quickly. I had been exhausted. I was woken up in the middle of the night, however. I looked over to the hotel clock. It read 2:20 a.m. I wasn't exactly sure why I was awake, but I had to use the bathroom. So I got out of bed and decided to do so. I had just made it in the bathroom door when I began to hear noises from the front door. On instinct, I quickly swung the bathroom door shut and locked it. Just as I did so, I heard the main door click open. I heard the door catch on the deadbolt, but only for a second. Next, I heard the snapping of metal as the deadbolt was broken. Inside the bathroom, I realized my biggest mistake. I had forgotten my cell phone. I wasn't sure how much good screaming would do me. This hotel was cheap, as I had mentioned, and I hadn't ever seen any other guests. The kind of people that stayed here most likely wouldn't flinch if they heard someone scream. I began to scour the bathroom for some type of weapon. There really wasn't much. I turned on the coffee maker all the way up and poured some water inside. Then I armed myself with a plunger I had found in the corner. I guess the intruder hadn't immediately realized that I had hid in the bathroom, because he seemed to walk into the hotel bedroom first. I thought about making a run for it then, but my wallet, keys, and phone were all in the bedroom. Not to mention I wasn't in the greatest part of my city, and it was the middle of the night. I was a cornered animal. After spending a few minutes in the bedroom, I heard the intruder's footsteps come back towards the front of the room and closer to me. Eventually, he paused directly in front of the bathroom door. Knock knock. Listen, I don't know who you are, but you have the wrong guy, I shouted at the door. My pleas fell on deaf ears though. I heard the man take a few steps back, and then he began to ram the door. It didn't entirely break the first strike, which was surprising seeing how shitty this hotel was. I knew the door most likely wouldn't withstand the second strike though. So I began to ready myself. I took a deep breath as I heard the man take a few steps back again. The stranger barreled through the door this time. As he did, I doused him in the now boiling hot water from the coffee pot. My aim had never been better as it splashed directly on his face. He immediately recoiled. I took this opportunity to swing with all my might with the plunger. The first strike only made him fall to his knees, but the next few got the job done. I didn't kill him, but he was certainly going to have a huge headache when he awoke. I called 911 and they came to pick him up. I was brought back with them for questioning. Once again I explained to them about the flash drive, and once again they thought I was crazy. Considering the events, they took my story a bit more seriously, but in the end they didn't seem entirely convinced. The man who had attacked me had been from a few states over. This raised some red flags with the police. He didn't have a previous record though. They would have to look more into him in order to find a motive. After a few hours of seemingly pointless questions they released me. I had just hoped that his whole thing was over. I was given my things from the hotel room, and I decided to just go back to my home. The man chasing me was apprehended now, so I shouldn't have anything to worry about. Just as I walked through my front door I heard an odd ring come from my phone. I hadn't remembered setting that sound to anyone. In fact, I had never heard that ringtone before. I pulled out my phone to see I had one new message from a name that was just a random assortment of numbers and letters. This is what it said. Your opponent has failed their task. Welcome to round 2.